Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the 19th edition of the Ball Talk Boyos podcast. I am joined, as per usual, by the one, the only, Joey Boreski. Joey, how are you doing today?
Doing fantastic, Topher. It's a beautiful Tuesday evening here in Indiana, and holidays are right around the corner. Heading out of the state of Indiana tomorrow. So whenever I'm leaving Indiana, it's always a good day.
It's always
Always
a
a
good
great
day.
day. That's it.
Yeah, always a great day. We're joined as well by, after much fan request, Connor Wood. C. Wood, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. Just excited to talk some ball. How you doing, Toph?
I'm doing pretty good. What is your favorite Thanksgiving food?
Hmm. Probably mac and cheese.
Mac and cheese.
Maybe
Interesting.
I also like mashed potatoes.
Mashed potatoes. Interesting. Do you like gravy with your mashed potatoes?
I do not. Just some salt, maybe some pepper.
Well, I know what I like with my mashed potatoes.
What?
Listener questions. That's what we're going through today, folks. We have some listener questions, as well as some Topher questions ready for Connor and Joey. But first off, we'll start off with a Topher question. I have to preface this by saying, Joey, I have to apologize to you. I talked you into trading Saquon Barkley, and Saquon Barkley would have won you the last 2 weeks.
Yep, I would have won the last 2 weeks. I'd be in the playoffs. I'd make another title run. This is, honestly, Toby, I can't be mad at you. This is what I get for compromising my own integrity and thinking that somebody knows better than me when it comes to fantasy football. So it's not on you. I should have known that your mind is more feeble than mine when it comes to stuff like this. So it's okay. It's all good. And I will accept my likely punishment of 24-hour IHOP, Waffle House, whatever, challenge. Eat one pancake to take off an hour. I'll take that.
It just has not played in your favor. Unfortunately, the Steelers and Browns played in a blizzard on Thursday night and couldn't do anything in the second half. So, speaking of Saquon Barkley, the first question that I have for the both of you is, what needs to happen over the next 6 weeks for Saquon Barkley to be the NFL MVP? Connor?
One for sure. He's on pace for it, but he needs 2,000 total yards. It won't happen if he does not have that. He'll need the Ravens to lose more games, lose the division. The Bills are for sure going to win the division. They just have to hope they lose a couple more games and Josh Allen doesn't play as well. They run the ball more. But I still think it's either Lamar's or Josh Allen's to lose because it's been a quarterback award. The Eagles also have to win their division, obviously, which they're more likely going to do. Saquon's well on pace for 2,000 yards. He's going to probably get, I don't know what he's on pace for touchdown wise, but it's probably a lot. But I think it's more of Lamar and Josh Allen have to lose it than it is Saquon has to go win it, just based on how the word has previously been.
Joey, your thoughts?
I think Saquon Barkley has to hop in a time machine and go back 15, 20 years to win a running back could possibly win the NFL MVP award. I mean, if we've seen some crazy seasons where running backs haven't won the NFL MVP award, there's no way Saquon's going to do it. I mean, he's playing great, don't get me wrong, but I don't think he's like playing otherworldly necessarily. He's playing very, very good, do not get me wrong, but he has to have like an otherworldly 2,000 something yard season, like to at least even be in the conversation for NFL MVP as a running back. It shouldn't be that way. It should be not just a quarterback award, but it is a quarterback award. So I don't think Saquon has pretty much any shot. I'd give it less than 1%.
Did you say you don't think he's having an otherworldly season?
I think he's having a very good season. I don't think he's having like the greatest running back season we've seen.
Based on my statistics, Saquon Barkley is currently on pace for 2,151 rushing yards. And Connor, do you know what that would be? An NFL single season record by close to 50 yards. The last time we saw somebody come that close or over 2,100 yards was Adrian Peterson.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
You want to know what Adrian Peterson did that year?
Won MVP.
He won NFL MVP over Peyton Manning, who had a pretty respectable year. He threw for 4,600 yards and 37 touchdowns, and their team was 13-3 and won the division. The Vikings were a wild card team in Adrian Peterson. So, go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, Adrian Peterson had to carry that Vikings team on his back all year, though. Saquon Barkley has been very good and needs to be very good for them to be contenders for the Eagles, but he's not carrying that team on his back. He's not going to drag them but he's not going to drag them to the playoffs. Like Saquon Barkley is a very good running back. Saquon Barkley is having an elite season. He's having one of the best seasons clearly that we've seen. But I'm saying like he would have to do something even more like preposterous than he's doing right now in order for him to win MVP, just because of the state of the board right now, where it's purely a quarterback award.
I will say though, if Saquon had the season last year, I think he would have a lot better shot to win it last year because Lamar won it last year, but not his stats were just fine last year.
Yeah.
But like this year, Lamar, his stats are way better. He's been playing amazing. I think as of right now, Lamar.
He's not going to win his division.
How do you know?
And I don't think they're not. The Steelers are going to win their division. The Steelers are a better team than the Ravens.
I disagree, but
we see the Ravens lost to the Raiders. We will see them have really bad games. Like they play incredibly inconsistent.
They also would
have that defense is extremely suspect.
They would have beat the Steelers if Justin Tucker was to kick a football.
And he's been bad this year, and it doesn't sound like he's going anywhere. Joey, go ahead.
The Steelers lost to the Browns and the Cowboys this season.
Cowboys was Dak Prescott playing good, and honestly, I'm going to say I don't take anything away from the Steelers-Browns game because it was you could not see the ball half the time. So I take nothing out of that game. That game changes no way I view either team. Jameis Winston's fun. That's my takeaway from the game. And he has a team ready to run through a brick wall. But I take nothing away from that game from a Steelers perspective. So I think if the Ravens don't win their division and the Eagles go on to be 15-2 and are the number one seed in the NFC, which is still in play, they're only one game back of the Lions. I think Saquon breaks the NFL single season rushing record. I think he's the NFL MVP.
You can for sure make the argument, but also like the Ravens only have the Steelers are 8-3, the Ravens are 8-4, and the Ravens also play the Steelers again. By no means are they not in contention for the AFC North.
I'm not saying that they're not. I think the Steelers are the better team.
Well,
and I think they win the division in the end. Yeah, we shall see. I feel like I had another thought come into my mind. Have you guys seen the discourse about people trashing or trying to argue that the Giants made the right decision by not bringing back Saquon Barkley?
I haven't seen any positive words about the Giants' decision making whatsoever.
It's essentially been that they're getting close to the same value for less money after not signing Saquon Barkley.
Oh, because I did see something like that because Tyrone trait, but
it was comparing the number of rushing yards that Saquon has had compared to the Giants' total single season rushing yards. Not just a singular player, but as an entire team. How many? And Saquon's had more, of course. But that it's you get close to the same production. Well, you want to know what else about the Giants? They suck. They are not good. And you want to know what else I think? A lot of Saquon Barkley thoughts. I think he's single single-handedly adjusting, or this season in general is adjusting how we view running backs. I think we will no longer see as much of a struggle for running backs to get a second contract. And I
Yeah.
don't
I agree
think
with
that should be
that.
an issue
That's
as
not
much
that's
anymore.
not just
Because,
Saquon, but yeah.
I mean, if you look
And
at
like
most
Henry,
Henry, but even like lower down, you can go to I got La Henny on my mind. But like Pollard having a career year, second contract. DeAndre Swift, season has turned around. He got paid again. Whatchamacallit? Joe Mixon is having the best year of his career, and the Texans have forgot they're allowed to throw the ball on 3rd and short, apparently, and just run it every single time. I'm sure there are others that I'm missing, but I think
Josh Jacobs
the
is
running
doing really
Josh
well.
Jacobs has had a very good year once again as
Mhm.
well. So like I think the market will now correct itself and we won't have the running back conversation. I think it got a little overblown at one
I
point, but
agree. I agree.
I will say
I
this.
think
I saw this. I think it was Twitter. I saw this, but this guy said, people used to say running backs don't matter, but I think the stance now should be that running back is a luxury position that could raise the ceiling of an already good team without making them. But running backs won't make a major difference on a bad team. Because like realistically, like Saquon can't carry the Giants to make the wild card. It's not going to happen. But it raises the Eagles from like a playoff team to a Super Bowl contender. So like it
Mhm.
raises the ceiling, but you can't. But on a bad team, you can't really carry them to get wins.
Yep.
no, it is largely just going to be the really good
Mhm.
teams that are in need of a running back or in need of elite production will go and
Yeah.
um, spend for that.
But also, like we talked about this before, it's not always the case because like you've seen the Chiefs win Super Bowls with like random
Mhm.
running backs win it, and you've seen like the Rams when the Rams won it. Who is there? Was it like C.J. Henderson? Or was that a different year?
I thought it was
Yeah.
Daryl Henderson.
It might be Darnell Henderson, yeah, and
Darnell,
Cam
yeah.
Akers. Because remember, Cam Akers made the
Oh,
miraculous return
I'm
Yeah.
from
I'm
the
thinking
Achilles
of
for the Super
I'm thinking
Bowl.
of the year the Rams lost to the Patriots. They had like C.J. Anderson that run.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
that was the year that Todd Gurley maybe would have won NFL MVP if he played the entire
yeah. And
year
then his
healthy.
knees like blew out the last couple weeks of the season.
Because he had really bad like arthritis, like
Yeah.
going back to his like Georgia days.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So, um, but yeah, running back position will adjust itself, and we'll see where things go from here. Um, I'll start off with this question. We'll do a listener question now. If you could manage your favorite sports team right now, what are your first 3 moves? Connor?
My favorite sports team is the Bears. My first move is fire Eberflus, and that's all I really care about right now. I'm polls. I'm torn on him because I he's made some good decisions, but he also can't pick a head coach to save his life, and he has refused to address the O line when it's clearly been an issue. And but so with him, if unless I'd be torn firing him or not, but if he's fired, I would be fine if he stays. But I'd for sure fire Eberflus, and that's all I would do right now. I would make this is our OC right now, Thomas something I think.
Thomas Brown, right?
Yeah, Thomas Brown. I'd make him the interim head coach for the rest of the season, see how he does. And maybe we keep him as depending on who we hire, because we could hire a defensive guy that maybe if he's really good, we keep him as our OC, which but just like see how it goes. But the worst case happens is just as bad as it is now, and then we get rid of him after this year.
Joey, your 3 moves?
Well, my favorite team in sports is the Buckeyes of Ohio State University. But I'm gonna go pro. I'm just gonna for the sake of debate, I'm gonna go with the Cleveland Browns here. And also obviously because the Cleveland Cavaliers are playing fantastic right now. We'll go Cleveland Browns. My first move is having to do with Deshaun Watson. I am gonna try to package picks with Deshaun Watson and see if a team that's completely rebuilding, not going to contend for a couple seasons, is willing to take on that contract, or at least a big chunk of that contract, in combination with some of our own draft picks. just to get that
Like four
contract off our
firsts
books.
or something.
Not that crazy. But if some it for part of the contract for a team that's rebuilding, it's not going to take four firsts. I don't think it's that crazy. It is a really bad contract though. I would just try to do that, and just try to get him out of the locker room, out of the organization. With that being said, then I would take some of that extra cap space we have and just have some of these other pieces that the Browns really need. I mean, the Browns do have a decent roster of talent. It's just quarterback's obviously been an issue, and it seems like the wide receiver room is also not too hot right now. So I think I'm bringing back Jameis Winston just because I feel like he's a serviceable enough quarterback that can at least win us some games. He's serviceable enough. And
Elite.
on top of that, I am going out and getting a decent wide receiver one in free agency, whether that be like a T Higgins, whether that be another guy who's going to be a free agent this offseason, just to have some talent at that position. And then with the remaining draft picks that we do have, just drafting guys on the line. Really, that's what I'm going to do, just so we have some depth at that position, because offensive line depth has been a serious issue for us in previous years. So I think that's what I would do if I was in charge of the Browns. Are the Browns going to do anything close to that? No. Is Deshaun Watson going to probably start whenever he's healthy again? Yeah, but that's what I'm going with.
Unrelated to the question, but T. Higgins is about to make himself so much money this offseason, whether it's the Chargers or the Patriots or the Browns. Somebody's about to throw him a crud ton of money, and it's going to be worth it if he plays 17 games a year, but we'll see if that happens. Obviously, my favorite team is the Red Sox, but would you rather me do the Cowboys so that way it's something that we can all talk about?
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, Dallas Cowboys.
Start Trey Lance.
No, I'm gonna
Oh,
no. Uh, build a time machine, go back in time, and not trade for Trey Lance.
Good start. That's a very good start.
I don't know how I'm doing it, but Jerry Jones is done. He's just he can keep paying everybody, but just he's done making the calls on everything. And then obviously here I'll loop that in. I'm cleaning house. Everybody's gone. Head coach, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, the kid doing the laundry, they're all gone. Like a complete culture shift. And then I'm bringing in Bill Belichick to restore. I think Bill Belichick, the fact that like Bill Belichick or even Pete Carroll, I've seen being floated as a potential like head coach for the next like for the Jets is like, why would these older guys want to go to a team that's going to be forced to rebuild? Like, I'd rather go to a team that's like right there, super close, and be able to contend. And then, the last thing I'm doing is I'm getting rid of this whole no linebacker defense. We're bringing in Bobby Wagner and whoever else to fix that heck show because they can't stop the run. The Packers cooked them last year because they were playing 7 DBs and trying to disguise 2 of them as linebackers. So hey, I might even move Micah Parsons back to being a linebacker. I mean, I don't think defensive end has really worked this year, so move him back to linebacker and let him be the toolsy guy that he is. So those are my 3 moves. Red Sox, Juan Soto, and then whatever the heck else.
Wait, just real quick question following up the Cowboys thing. So
Yeah.
I'm getting us on record that you wouldn't give Mike McCarthy an extension like Jerry Jones is about to do.
What did Jerry Jones say? No, he's
Hear
not.
me?
He's not. The worst thing they can honestly do that I've seen floated is the Shadur Dion thing. Like that makes no sense. It makes no sense. It might.
That's not happening.
It genuinely might.
After Colorado just landed that 5-star quarterback, then that got then moved to a 4-star. I think I saw that, but
Yeah.
Deion's not leaving after that. I feel like that secures Deion staying in Colorado, unless if he does move, then that quarterback's transferring. But
That's fair.
Yeah.
Connor, this is a Topher question.
mm,
What do you want to see out of the Bears the remainder of the season?
all I care about is Caleb Williams playing good, and that's all I care about.
Just
Because
his development.
the season's over. Of course, it would be nice to get a few more wins just to boost the morale. Because I don't want to insert a losing culture. It'd be really nice to beat the Packers, but let's be real, probably not going to happen. We might not. We'll probably squeeze out 1 or 2 wins just because we have a good enough roster with horrible coaching. But as long as Caleb looks good, that's all I care about.
Joey, if you were a Bears fan, what would you want to see out of them the rest of the year?
Well, first of all, I just want to say that my preseason Bears prediction was 7-10. So I'm gonna take my victory lap right there. But I just gotta say that if I was a Bears fan, Connor hit it right on the head. I want Caleb Williams to continue to develop and look good because right now there's a lot of really good looking rookie quarterbacks this season. I mean, obviously Jaden Daniels had some really good moments. Bo Nix has come on strong. Drake May is looking very good. So I think that there's an argument right now that Caleb Williams has been playing like the fourth best quarterback. He has been playing like the fourth best quarterback in this rookie class. I don't think if I was going back, I still wouldn't draft him. I would still draft him first or second. I'd say I think Caleb Williams is still one of the best quarterbacks and has some of the highest potential in this class. But just seeing his development would be big, just because you don't want the Chicago media and all the lunatic Bears fans to be saying all offseason, oh, we should have drafted this guy, and getting down on Caleb Williams, being negative about Caleb Williams, and having that getting Caleb Williams feeble mind and all that type of stuff. So I just say Caleb Williams developing, playing good, and just hoping next year you make the right hires.
I won't speak for Connor, but I feel like we're already starting to see the development of Caleb Williams the last couple of weeks. I mean, I feel like based on the stats, I haven't obviously been able to watch any of the game, but like he seems like he's playing better.
Yeah, he's played really well. The only knock I can right now, he's had a little bit of accuracy issues, but like physical mistakes are gonna happen. But and also like he has taken a couple of bad sacks, especially the one in overtime last week was a really bad sack. Besides that, I thought he played really well. I think it just proves how like Shane Waldron was just horrible, like horrendous. You have this guy who's never called plays before, just making Caleb just look fine. He also has been like really good about um not turning the ball over, but as long as he does what he did the last 2 weeks, just looks better. He's led the Bears now 3 different games to potentially game-winning drives. Like against the Washington, he basically did it twice. Against the Packers, he did it once. He did it against the Vikings. Just like 1.5 times with the touchdown to a point and then the field goal. Um, he's been looking a lot better. The other rookie quarterbacks have all looked good, to be honest. I'm surprised. Like they've all looked really good, but I still think I'd
Dan-
take Caleb at one.
yeah, Daniels and that offense is kind of coming back down to earth though. But
It's just like a Cliff Kingsbury type of offense. They saw that with Arizona
Yeah.
every year. They started off hot and then just fizzled out.
and then Bo Nix has I don't get it. I didn't see this coming.
Yeah, I feel like the first couple weeks his like footwork was so bad, but he just looks so much better. Like I don't, he
It's
just
what
does.
happens when you bring a quarterback into, I guess, what turned out to be the right situation. It
Yeah,
was,
and it's not even that great of a situation. I mean, he has
I think Sean
really good
Payton's
defense.
a
Sean
good head
Payton.
coach,
Yeah, like
if
I
not
wish.
great, and he revived Drew Brees' career previous. Like it's a guy who has a track
Yeah,
record with a quarterback.
yeah. I'm surprised the Broncos are this good.
Yeah, I mean they're a borderline playoff team.
They are a playoff team right now, I think.
Are they still in it? I wasn't sure if they've fallen out of it.
Yeah,
They're probably frauds, but they won't.
yeah.
They've been better than I thought they were going to be. And then
Mhm.
Drake May, it's all just flashes. That team
Right,
sucks. Talk about a bad
like
situation.
that. I think Drake May will be good, but
Yeah.
it's gonna be in a really good class of what we've seen so far. And we haven't even seen
And we haven't
the
even
other two
seen
first
two
round
of
picks
them.
play. Yeah,
Yeah. We haven't even seen McCarthy or Penix. We won't see Penix for a couple of years, though.
yeah, because Kirk's looking pretty solid, so you probably won't see him next year for sure.
And just his contract situation.
Yeah.
Like I think he has 2 years that wind up being like fully guaranteed. So
Yeah, and then
we'll see.
if he keeps leading the playoffs, it'd be kind of hard to bench him for the third year, but we'll see.
And then Connor, another question: who would be your choice to be the next head coach for the Chicago Bears, not named Ben Johnson?
Not named Ben Johnson. I would throw a blank check at um, Ben Johnson if I could, but if not Bill Johnson, I think it'll probably be. I'd probably say Joe Brady right now. The Bills OC. He's looked really good since taking over the play calling last year for the Bills. Um, it's first name on top of my head. Other options there are, but I'd probably say he's my first option. I'd say is the next head coach. I really want an offensive guy, but
I think Rex Ryan's ready to make his return to the
oh
NFL.
gosh. I've seen someone throw away. I've seen like Josh McCown being thrown around too, and I'm like,
I don't. Okay, I might be crazy, but there are so many worse options than Josh McCown.
what? The thing is though, isn't he the quarterbacks coach in Vikings right now in Minnesota?
Yeah,
I feel like he wouldn't jump from quarterback coach to head coach. I feel like that would be more of like, oh, if the Bears got a defensive oriented head coach, and then we sign him as like our OC or something. But I wouldn't want to. I would rather have Joe Brady or someone as an
he may
other
not
head
be interested. He might like working like specifically with the
coach.
quarterbacks if he's not going to
Hmm.
be a head coach though. I
Yeah.
think it's like what Connor, you're
Hmm.
Connor, Gabe and Quinn have talked about, where it's like I think the better route is identifying the next guy if it's not going to be
Yeah.
Ben Johnson. Like
Yeah.
there's another Dan Campbell out there somewhere. Like find them and
Yeah.
give them the
That's why I
keys.
would like take the step from like not calling plays to then calling plays as an OC, then going straight to head coach.
Yeah,
I feel like
it'd be a little silly,
yeah.
but I don't know. I don't hate Josh McCown. It's better than if they Rex Ryan or Cliff
Yeah.
Kingsbury. I think would be
I
worse.
would not want Cliff Kingsbury. I didn't want it as our OC. It's just college style offense.
I honestly I think what's his face would be worse. Brian Flores. He might break Caleb Williams. Like actually. Um.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
anyways, uh,
It's gonna be Brian
Joey.
Flores. Wait, real quick.
Oh,
I just
go
want to
ahead.
say it's gonna be Brian Flores or Marcus Freeman, the Notre Dame head coach.
It's not gonna
One of
be
those two
Freeman.
guys. One of them will be the next head coach of Chicago Bears. Let's move on now, though.
Horrible. Joey, I got a question just for you.
Yep.
This question you don't know.
Okay.
Are you currently searching for a job, or are you just going to marry me for my money? This comes from listener Dylan.
That's so Dylan's trying to marry me.
No, are you marrying me for my money?
Oh, I am in the process of thinking about looking for a job. So, yeah, I'm having concepts of thoughts of looking for a job. So, we
We're
will.
working right now.
Yeah, this is my job right now. So
Exactly.
I'm chilling. I will be okay. I will get a job at some points, and it will be fine. I've just been shooting very high and becoming so close. It's like taking that full court shot, right? I've hit the backboard, hit the inside of the rim, but just had a little too much power on it, so it's bouncing that right out. But
Hey,
so maybe I'll take a closer shot next time though.
Ball Talk Boyo's gonna pop off, so you don't even got to worry about it. We're doing just fine. And then Connor, how does it feel to be a fan favorite, and would you consider coming on as a full-time host?
Oh,
This is
is this
also from
Dylan?
Dylan. Yes, this is also from Dylan.
Dylan, and it gives me the biggest smile whenever he comes up to me and it says how I'm his favorite guest on the podcast. I mean, always brings me joy. I love all the fans out there.
Nice. Um, next, Topher question. We'll go to one of those. Uh, we'll do that one. Will Aaron Rodgers be playing football in 2025? Joey?
Connor, you want me to go first?
Yeah, go ahead.
Aaron Rodgers will not be playing football in 2025. Aaron Rodgers wants to play football in 2025, but football doesn't want Aaron Rodgers in 2025. I just don't see. We were going through this the other day in the car about where we could actually see him playing football next year,
Not a lot of
and
teams.
I don't think there's really like any teams out there that are good enough situations where he'd want to play for them, or bad enough where they want him to play for them. Like, there's not. I just don't see a situation. I think the only situation would be the Jets, and he apparently wants out of the Jets. So I just don't think there's a shot that he plays football really next year, unless he's back with the Jets. But I don't think he's playing football next year now.
Yeah, he was trying to say on McAfee today that he hasn't decided what he's doing. He hasn't told anybody anything. So I have no clue. Connor, where is Aaron Rodgers playing football in 2025?
If it would be my guess, the way it looks of it right now is probably the couch or on Jeopardy or something. But because I think it would have been different if he just didn't want to step away from the Jets and play it. Cause didn't he like? Is he not playing the rest of the season?
No, that was just like a report that
Oh,
they might put him
okay.
on IR or just bench him.
Okay. Because if he does play the rest of the season and like looks decent, then maybe because I feel like part of the reason why Devontae Adams went to the Jets is because Rodgers like, yeah, we're gonna get 2 years at it, but I'm not sure the Jets want Aaron Rodgers back because I don't know. I could also the Jets like keeping Rodgers and drafting somebody again just to be like I don't know. There's not many options for Aaron Rodgers now because he also is also not a good locker room guy. It seems like, or at least like he wants to control everything. I'm not sure if a team wants Rodgers to control everything at this age.
No,
If I feel like if it's not the Jets, the only other team would be maybe, but I don't even think this. But if there was a team, it'd probably be the Browns. Just because they have a pretty good team around him, and it's like, okay, we don't want Watson. They're like, you know what, Aaron Rodgers, if you want to play for a cheap contract, then sure, you can have a year. But I think he's not going to play next year.
I have a hard the only reason I have a hard time. Okay, Aaron Rodgers only makes sense for a team that's a quarterback away from competing, and I think we just don't have that right
Yeah,
now.
that's why I don't think he's going to play. But if I had to pick a team, it would probably be the Jets or the Browns.
The
But I
Jets
don't
only
think
because he's contractually to the Browns. The only thing I would say is if the Browns might just tear it all down.
they.
they're going to.
They
Yeah, I
might
mean they
just blow it
should.
all up.
They
They
don't have the
should.
money because of Watson. They should tear it down.
Like it should just rebuild. Decide if whoever what's the head coach's name? I can't even remember his name.
Stefanski.
Decide if he's your guy and move on. Like get ready for 3 to 4 years from now.
And the rebuild, I feel like shouldn't take too long. Like if you just,
No,
I feel like you're looking more of like a 2 year rebuild until you start like trying to win.
I mean it just depends on how much of their draft capital they've kept over these
Yeah, and
years.
it's just Watson's,
Largely
and they still have
in
good
Watson's
players they can trade
contract.
away.
Yeah.
Like if they really want to rebuild, they could trade Miles Garrett for a crap ton.
Yeah.
And they
But
also have good like Denzel Ward is still good. They could trade for, but also could just keep them and see what happens. But
Yeah. We'll see what the future holds for Aaron Rodgers, but like we've said, Aaron Rodgers might not be done with football, but football seems like it's done with Rodgers, which is sad to see. Um, Joey, are you getting paid to hype up Domantas Sabonis? I paraphrased
yeah, I saw this question that one of our
from
friends,
Will.
Will
Yeah.
posed to us, and so I texted Will about it, right? And this is a direct quote from Will. I told him it was a great question, and he said, and I quote, "I love that you're willing to die on that hill of Domantas Sabonis, but he's the Kirk Cousins of the NBA."
if that's the case, he's really good. I love Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm not getting paid to hype up Domantas Sabonis. I genuinely think Domantas Sabonis is a very good player. It's not any paid. If I wish I was getting paid. Heck, if any player out there wants to pay me to hype them up, I will happily do so. Any team wants to pay me to hype them up, I will happily do so. It's not going to cost very much either. But no, I'm not getting paid by Domantas Sabonis to hype him up. I genuinely think I would rather have Domantas Sabonis on my team right now than Joel Embiid.
He is, well, that's not that far of a stretch, but he is no longer on the list for top 10 top candidates for the MVP award, like we checked a few weeks ago.
It's okay. Long season.
Connor, what are your thoughts on Domantas Sabonis?
He's good. Don't get me wrong. He's good. He's not as good as what Joey says, but he's still good.
Over the next 5 years, would you rather have Bryce Young or Anthony Richardson? Connor, you and I had a very lively talk about Bryce Young off camera.
I'd say Richardson, but my confidence in both of them is still pretty low. Just that Richardson just naturally has so much more talent that can bail him out, like his rushing and his huge arm, when
No,
Bryce Young doesn't have any of that. If I had to pick one, I'd say Richardson.
I should preface not from a fantasy standpoint, from purely
Yeah,
like roster building.
if it was fantasy,
Joey?
100% Richardson, because
Yeah, I would
like
agree.
you'd start him right now. But I think even roster construction, that's why I'm leading Richardson. But I also
Joey?
I'm taking Richardson 10 times out of 10 in this scenario. I mean, I think Anthony Richardson has so much potential, and we have seen these flashes of greatness, and if you just give him that time, a couple years down the line, I think he could really pay off. And Bryce Young, if this is like a CJ Stroud or Anthony Richardson question, I think it'd be even a little bit closer, just because while I do think CJ Stroud is better than Anthony Richardson, do not get me wrong, I'm not trying to say he's not. I think that CJ Stroud, we've seen what CJ Stroud is. He's having a bit of a sophomore slump, but we've seen what he is. Where CJ Stroud's a very, very good quarterback. But Anthony Richardson has the potential of the best quarterback on the planet. Like that is his potential, and I don't think anyone can deny that's the ceiling for Anthony Richardson. So I'm taking the chance. I'm taking the flyer, seeing what happens. Doesn't work, it doesn't work, but I think Anthony Richardson is the answer here for sure, especially over a guy like Bryce Young.
Yeah, when I thought of the question, I sat down to think about it. I was like, Bryce Young probably has the higher floor.
Yes.
And Anthony Richardson just has the higher ceiling. And it's just a matter of whether they can get him to that point. But I think we're starting to see out of Bryce Young what got him drafted first overall, and starting to see the adjustment that you would have liked to the NFL level. And it'll be I'll play the opposite end. I'll take Bryce Young. And we'll just have to wait and see over the next 5 years, I guess. But I still think there's plenty of opportunity for both to still be very good.
I will say though, yeah, Bryce Young's ceiling though is a lot low. Is like lower compared to like
that's what I
not
said.
just in general as like a quarterback, just because his arm talent's not there and he's not
We've seen
mobile.
guys with not great arm talent and not
Yeah,
very
no, I'm
mobile
just saying his
succeed in
ceiling's
this
like
league.
a lot,
So
like ceiling's a lot lower.
yeah, that's what I said. Anthony Richardson has the higher ceiling.
Yeah.
Joey, should I answer your stupid question now?
Go ahead.
Coming from our very own Joey Boreski, Connor, we were asked, will Topher admit that Joey's Cade Stover take was good now? Cade Stover this season has 13 catches for 126 yards and 1 touchdown, which is 31.8 PPR fantasy points. His best game, which was this past week, was 3 receptions for 26 yards, a touchdown, in 36% of snaps. That accounts to 13.1 PPR fantasy points. Here is the list of players that have more PPR points than Cade Stover this season. Juju Smith-Schuster, Johnny Mund, Adam Thielen, John Mechie. Don't worry, we'll come back to him. Ricky Purcell, who was shot. Elijah Higgins, Luke Schoonmaker, Darnell Washington, and AJ Barner. Joey, would you like me to keep going? I got more stats if you want.
Topher, what all
Players,
analytics-
tight ends to have more than 13.1 PPR points in a game. Theo Johnson, Charlie Kohler, Tanner Hudson, Adam Troutman, and Noah Gray. You ready for one more, Joey?
Go ahead.
NFL players to have one receiving touchdown this season. Blake Whiteheart, Connor Hayward, Kenny Yaboya, Ben Sinnott, Christian Wilkerson. Oh, more? Bo Nix, Jared Goff, Andrew Ogletree, Malik Heath, Vidarian Lowe, and Chris Manhertz. So guess what, Joey? No. I will not admit that your stupid take was right because of one mediocre game.
Can I share my perspective now?
Oh, sure, go ahead. I had to get that off my chest.
Okay.
It took a lot of work to get all that.
First of all, it's crazy that you're in denial this much, and the first step to seeking help is admitting that you're in denial and not being in denial anymore. So I just want to say that I'm praying that you get the help you need.
He had one game.
Second of all,
Go ahead,
let
go
me
ahead,
finish.
go ahead,
I'll
go
let you speak. Please let
Oh.
me speak. What all you analytics nerds fail to understand when it comes to sports, and I'm not talking about analytic nerdy baseball where you need all these Harvard people to be talking about it. What all you guys fail to understand is at the end of the day, what you really want is somebody to pass the eye test. And Cade Stover passes the eye test brilliantly. He is not. You said it better than anyone. He had 30-something% of the snaps this past week and put up that many fantasy points. So imagine if he had more. Imagine if he had 100% snap share. That's triple that amount of fantasy points. He would have 39 fantasy points than Topher this past week. 39. So I don't
Played
want to
100% of snaps.
Yes, if he played 100% of the snaps. 39. His per 100% snap share this past week was 39 fantasy points. So before we say that Cade Stover isn't great, he just needs a chance. And when given a sliver of a chance, he's going to take advantage of it. And he took advantage of it this past week. That is all on this topic. I think this is a TBD.
That was actually low when you compare his snap count for the rest of the year, and he's actually produced less in the other games when he's had more snaps.
That doesn't fit my narrative.
Well, no one else doesn't fit your narrative. A Topher question. When will Joey admit that Topher was right about bringing up John Mechie instead of Xavier Hutchinson? Should I explain what the side-by-side looks like when you compare the two?
No, I'll give you that. I don't care. I don't think I was ever arguing Xavier Hutchinson over John Mechie, or at least I don't remember.
I think you literally did.
I don't think I remember arguing that. I remember arguing that Xavier Hutchinson was very good. I don't think I remember arguing more with John Mechie. I mean, as a college football fan myself, I remember how good John Mechie was.
Yeah, he was
and
great.
How much hype was surrounding him. I will 100% give you that. That's okay. I'm not gonna die on the Xavier Hutchinson hill. The Cade Stover hill, I will die on that hill. But that's because Cade Stover is an Ohio State Buckeye, baby.
Is that the eye test that you're talking about? Is that that was the color that he wore in college?
No, I watched him play in college, and I've watched him play in the NFL, and I do think there's a lot of potential there. That's all.
We will find out. A lot of other guys have produced a little bit more than him this year, so we will.
That's okay.
We'll see what the future holds for Cade Stover. I don't even know who some of those guys were either. Like Kenny Yaboya.
I've heard of him.
AJ Barner, who we clowned somebody for just trading for in our Dynasty League.
No.
Yeah.
AJ Barner went to
Davey. I
Michigan.
think Derek traded him to Davey or
To
somebody.
David, yeah, for Travis Kelce. That wasn't the entire deal, but and Darnell Washington, who I think notably is Russell Wilson's favorite target for some weird reason.
The
He gets the
blocking
ball
tight
so
end.
He's huge.
he
He's
gets
huge.
the ball he gets the ball so much now. And two quarterbacks have the same number of receiving touchdowns as Cade Stover.
Well, if Kate Stover had designed plays for him to catch touchdowns, I'm sure he'd be there too.
Except he doesn't play because he's not very good.
Yeah.
This our last, I believe, listener question, unless we've had more come in. And also, yeah, just the last of the questions that we have. I've gone through all of mine too. This is from Walker. Is the moon landing real? Connor.
Just for the sake of arguing and just for the sake of having fun, no, it is not real. The flag blowing was not there. What else was fake about it? Um, there was no footprints, or was there footprints? I don't know. But I'll just say it was fake just because it's more fun by saying it's real.
Joey.
We'll look up more reasons why it's not fake.
You know, the space race, that time in history was a fascinating time in history, right? Because it was really about pride at that point, right? The pride of the United States of America in the Cold War against the Soviet Union and who would be the first to get to the moon. And, you know, detractors from the United States of America, haters of the United States of America, and those who really are not true patriots of the United States of America wouldn't understand that if there's one place on planet Earth that is going to accomplish something first and accomplish something the best, it is the United States of fucking America. And they are the best, and they 100% made it to the moon. And I don't want to even hear any of this crap. There's so many bad conspiracy theories out there. There are some good conspiracy theories, do not get me wrong. There's so many bad ones out there that this is just people looking for a reason to hate. Unless you've been up in space, I don't want to hear all this science analytics stuff, the eye test once you've been in space. That's what I want to hear about.
All right, I just looked it up, and these are the reasons why the moon landing was fake. The first reason is because the shadows in the moon landing were not parallel, so therefore it was fake. Another reason, there were no stars in the pictures that NASA had of the moon landing, so therefore it was fake. And the flag one was the U.S. flag is waving in the wind, but there's no wind on the moon. So that's why it's fake. I don't actually think it's fake. I just think it's more fun to think that's fake. And for the
Yeah.
sake to argue with somebody about it.
It was
Make it
probably
more
fake, but
interesting.
I'm going to think it's real. God bless America, right?
Yeah.
Of course. America.
America. I have no other questions. Do either of you have any thoughts that you want to discuss as questions? We have other things we can obviously talk about, but anything that gets spurned as we are going through all these, I can check to see if we've got any
I have
more.
I have a good question, and I've heard some debate on this recently. Obviously, college football season is winding down, and this is one of the most discussed and anticipated Heisman races, I think, of recent memory. Who do you guys think is going to win Heisman, and who do you think should win Heisman? Connor, you go first.
If it was a month ago, I would have said it would be Ashton, and I think it should be Travis Hunter. But I think now it should be Ashton. His season he's having is incredible. All those rushing yards and touchdowns, it's insane. But I do think Travis Hunter is also like having a great year. Like playing, being top five, if not top three at corner and receiver is unheard of. I mean, also Ashton, what he's doing is also unheard of. So it's just, I think they're both having insane seasons, but I think Ashton should and will win.
My thing is, has Travis actually been good at both? Or is it just like we see all the highlights, the media hypes it up? Or has he actually been good at either?
Well, he's one of the finalists for the Blitnikoff, which is awards the top receiver in the
Yeah,
nation.
receiver. Yeah.
There's three finalists. He's one of 3 finalists.
Okay.
And the Jim Thorpe Award, which is for the best defensive back, he was like very notably snubbed from the finalist list for that.
Okay.
So I think the fact that he was a Blitnikoff finalist or is a Blitnikoff finalist, and the consensus is that he was probably snubbed from the Jim Thorpe Award, kind of shows that he has been elite at both.
But could we say are people just saying that because the height? Like, who's saying this? Is it just random people on Twitter and TikTok?
I can't tell you off the top of my head.
And can't we also say some of those awards are a little? I mean, Marv won it last year over Neighbors, and
Marv should have won it last year. Marv should have won it the year before too, but Marv didn't win it the year before.
Marv should have maybe won it 2 years ago, but last year Neighbors had a lot better numbers than Marv.
I think it should be Genty. And you want to know what? We'll do a little sports crossover. I think it's not like we've never seen a Travis Hunter, maybe not to this degree before.
We've never seen a Travis Hunter.
Never
ever.
seen Travis Hunter.
Don't
Jabril Peppers.
Exactly. He was just a gadget player in offense.
Here's the thing. The only reason we're hearing about Travis Hunter is because of one Shohei Ohtani. That is why, because there is now precedent for someone that does both sides. Yeah, I'm just saying, Joey, because we're now, obviously he's been very good, but the only reason is we've now set precedent for this in sports, where arguably someone else is having a better season in one of the facets, but because this guy's doing it not bad, I shouldn't even say, he's doing it good on both sides, he's gonna get it. I was rounding the train. I was parking the car, landing the plane, stopping the train.
I knew you were going with that immediately. I just think that is a idiotic take, to be honest. That's absurd.
But like, where's the difference in it?
But football has had guys that have been two-way players to some degree, win it before, and be notable that they are two-way players before, like a Charles Woodson. Like that's just an example of someone who's been a two-way player, right? But no one's done it to the degree that.
I said that
Shohei Ohtani has done it has done that better than anybody has in recent I don't know, probably someone in the 1890s or something like that in baseball did it. Who knows? But I just don't think that. I think that football and Travis Hunter's been doing this for years, and sure. I think that's just that. I just think I see where you're coming from. I understand that, but that's from a baseball fan perspective. From a common sense perspective, from a football fan perspective, Shohei Ohtani has nothing to do with this. But from a baseball fan perspective,
no. The dots connect.
No.
I'm just saying, where there's smoke. Says the guy that was trying to just argue Cade Stover was good because of the eye test of a D3 cross country and track runner. I don't claim eye test either. Anyway, I just use stats.
I'm a professional ball knower. What are you talking about?
Oh,
I have a
my
podcast.
bad.
I have a podcast, buddy. I have podcasting equipment.
Yeah,
I know
go record a podcast or whatever disc was used against me one random night for absolutely no reason. Do you remember that? We can talk about that offline. I don't even know what else, but yeah, Genty should, and I think will wind up winning it because I think people come to their senses.
I think Genty should as well. I don't think Genty will. I think Travis Hunter is going to be the Heisman winner. And if it's not Travis Hunter, I don't think Genty's going to be second. I think it's going to be Travis Hunter, then next, if Miami wins out, Cam Ward, Then next would be Dylan Gabriel for God knows what reason.
Why are we ignoring historic seasons now, though? That's ridiculous.
I agree with you. I think that it should be Travis Hunter or Genty. I think we can all agree it should be one of those two, and we can see the arguments for both of them. But
if Genty is not in the top 2, I can understand Travis Hunter. He gets a lot of cardio in. I can understand Travis Hunter. But if anyone other than him finishes over Ash and Genty, I will never talk about college football ever again. I'm done with it. It is ridiculous. Same thing with Patrick Mahomes. If he finishes in the top 3 of MVP voting, I'm borderline done with the NFL. Because it is ridiculous what we're doing then.
I think the media has been pushing to try to get Dylan Gabriel up in that conversation.
No, I've seen more. Go ahead, sorry.
No, I'm just looking at the odds though, like the legitimate betting odds and like what these big media companies are putting out, because they are trying to push that because Dylan Gabriel is the quarterback of the best team in the nation, he should win it. The last thing that the big media wants is a Big 12 athlete in Travis Hunter winning it, or a guy from the Group of 5, especially in Ashton Genty winning it. That's the last thing they want. They want it to be a blue blood program's best player on the best team. So like Oregon's been the best team this regular season. They want Oregon's best player to win it, and that's going to be Dylan Gabriel. So it shouldn't be that way, but it is that way right now.
You want to know what I did today?
What?
I'll land the plane here too. I unfollowed Shams.
That's fair.
What, for 2 reasons? I think I'm just kind of over NBA basketball. And you want to know what he did, Joey?
What did he do?
Kind of messed with the betting odds. He released a allegedly fake report about people thinking about drafting somebody. You want to know what that did? A bunch of people went and dumped their money on that guy, and Vegas won because that guy did not get drafted first overall.
Right.
I don't trust anything when it comes to the betting odds. People mess with that stuff too much. So if Dylan gave props, because they've been really good this year, and I know he's been good, but once again, we're going to diminish the running back position way too much if he's not super high if he's having a historic season. He's like the only guy to have these stats through 11 games, aside from Barry Sanders and not going to remember the other person. Somebody we know.
Derrick Henry, maybe?
No.
Mm-hmm.
But he already has better stats than Derrick Henry when he won the Heisman.
He's had the best running back season since Henry.
He's had the best running back season since Barry Sanders.
Yeah.
We can go back farther than that. No, right, Joe?
I believe you're correct, yes.
It's a weird one. We'll see what ends up happening. Speaking of college sports, Joey, what else you got for us?
It is rivalry week in college football. There's some fantastic rivalry games going on this week. Obviously, the biggest rivalry in college sports and possibly American sports.
Ole Miss, Mississippi State.
The Ohio State Buckeyes versus the team up north. The Egg Bowl, Ole Miss, Mississippi State is another one that's going to happen. I believe, was it Thanksgiving or Black Friday?
They play Friday, I think.
Okay, Black Friday then, yeah. But there's plenty of great rivalry games. There's also some mid-rivalry games that you're like, oh, it's a rivalry, like in Iowa, Nebraska, stuff like that. But like, it's just college football is coming to an end here, and I think that everyone's just really excited to see this 12-team playoff. Also, as a non-SEC fan, it was great to see 3 teams that were playoff contenders from the SEC take their 3rd loss, because you can't possibly justify, in your right mind, putting a 3-loss SEC team in the playoff over a 1-loss Indiana team. Because, strength of schedule. Well, how about you don't lose 3 games, buddy? How about you don't lose to Vanderbilt, and how about you don't lose to Oklahoma? How about that for strength of schedule, huh? I mean, Indiana's beat plenty of teams that have winning records currently that are bowl eligible. Alabama's lost to 2 mid teams. Oklahoma has 6 wins. I think Vanderbilt has 6 wins. Yeah, maybe if you beat them, Alabama, then you'd be in the playoff. But you didn't. So I'm tired of this. I'm tired of this I'm tired of this SEC supremacist mentality that these people have. I mean, I could make a metaphor right now, but I'm not gonna make this metaphor because it's gonna piss people off. But the SEC is just they're so out of touch, so out of touch.
What I'm also sick of Florida FSU fans being upset about how last year's college football, because I saw a lot of stuff about like Quinn Ewers was having like an MRI on his shoulder or something like that, and it was like, oh, if he's out, then they don't get to make the playoffs. But like that's the
Well,
point of having the 12 team now as opposed to the 4. No?
well, the reason Florida State didn't make it last year is because there were three undefeated conference
Yeah.
champions: Michigan, Washington, Florida State, right?
Yeah.
And then the Big 12 champion was Texas, who beat the SEC champion Alabama.
Yeah.
So you couldn't possibly justify putting Alabama, the SEC champ, in over Texas because Texas beat them.
Yeah.
So they had this. And the college football playoff wasn't going to leave their precious SEC out, so they had to take FSU out because of the fact that they couldn't leave the SEC out. So then that put Texas above them too. Like in reality, it probably should have been Michigan, Washington, Florida State, Texas if it was based on just fairness and equality. But it comes down to money, and it comes down to money at the end of the day, and that's what the college football playoff committee sided with.
The format was also changed though, so that way if a FSU happened again where their starting quarterback got hurt, but if they were a one-loss conference champ or just a conference champ again, they're gonna get in regardless. So like,
Yeah.
like
To be
you can
honest,
piss
I
me
don't
for
agree.
complaining.
I don't agree with the 12-team format. I think it's too many teams.
I actually think it's perfect. I love it.
I think, well, we'll see how it goes, but I think 6 teams would have been good because realistically, if you're not in the top 6, you don't belong in the playoffs. You're gonna get blown out. Like, I feel like we'll see how it goes, but I think Boise State's gonna get blown out by whoever they play. Like, there's no point in having more than 6 teams because like
I
you've
don't
seen it
even.
also in like the championship games the last couple of years. They've all been blowouts. Like, you don't need more than 6 teams in the playoffs. So only 6 teams belong to have an actual chance of winning it. You can't tell me Boise State has a chance of winning the national championship game.
I think legitimately this will help there not be a blowout in the national championship game because you could see a team win one game and then their national championship before. But now teams have to win at least 2 games, maybe 3 games to get there. And you're not going to have a fraud getting to the national championship game like you could have had before. So I think it's going to help that for sure. And when it comes to like a Boise State, most years is the group of 5 champ is like the best team from the group of 5 probably going to get blown out. Yes, that's going to happen. But I think there's years for sure when a group of 5 champion can compete with the best teams in the country and wouldn't have had the opportunity in the 4-team playoff unless they have a perfect run for multiple years in a row like Cincinnati did a few years ago.
And we
I
potentially
also,
have seen this in our lifetime with UCF.
yeah, but
UCF,
they were the
yes.
5th team. That's why I think 6 teams would have been good. After you can let an undefeated team that looks really good in as a 6th team. I also think that like making it 12 kind of ruins the fun of college football when it's like if you lose 2 games, you're not getting in. It like every game matters so much. Like not like it matters like every game matters so much more with the 14 plays than it does now. Because realistically, a 2-loss Bama would have gone in with those losses
I
in
think it
a
matters
12 team.
more now because there's teams that have 2 losses currently that are still playing games that are elimination games. Like
Meaningful
before,
football.
if you have 1 loss and then you take a second loss, like you're done. That's it. Like
Yeah, it's
that's
kind of like
it.
the beauty of it. It
But
was it
there's
was kind of
more.
like
But like Alabama, Oklahoma this past week wouldn't have been an elimination game then. Ole Miss
okay, but then
versus
Alabama,
like
Vanderbilt, or whoever they played would have been an elimination game. I just think 6 teams would have been better because I think it was more of a money grab because realistically, teams 8 through 12, they're not winning. I would be shocked if the teams 8 through 12 ever win a national championship, ever, because I don't think they belong.
We'll see. I also think it's going to spread out the talent across college football more, which I think is something that desperately needed to happen because you give more teams feel like they have a chance to make it. And I, for one, I'm excited to watch Ashton Genty run all over who
Don't
they
get me wrong.
wind up
If
playing.
Boise State goes on a run, I would love that because
Yeah.
I think it'd be sick to have Ashton crushing, like running all over your game that not even in whatever your SC Georgia or whoever in the national championship. But I just don't think more than 6 teams have a shot to win any year. Even like since the playoffs started, I don't think the seventh team has a chance of winning the championship.
But I think that's trying to be changed by this because if you get more teams the opportunity to get in, the talent's going to naturally just imagine if we wound up with in the NFL only the top 4 teams made it. The good free agents are only going to want to go to those 4 teams that they think are making it every year. You're going to wind up with Georgia, Alabama, and Ohio State again,
We'll
or
see.
even Michigan. You're going to end up with
We'll
that
see how
again just in the NFL.
We'll see how it
Or
plays out
now,
because
yeah.
it's the first year of it. But I just don't. I just won't I don't ever see a team 7 through 12 winning a national championship.
This year could also be weird because quarterbacks suck this year.
That is true. But
I also got to say that obviously most years we're not going to see a team 7 through 12 winning it because they're not designed to win it. Like the 7 through 12 teams aren't supposed to win the playoff. They're supposed to have a shot. One or two might go on, win a game or two a year, but like they're not supposed to win the playoff. The 1 seed's supposed to win. If not the 1 seed, the 2 seed. If not the 2 seed, the 3 seed. Like it is ranked based on who should win the most, but they have a chance, and they're gonna give some good TV. And if there's a team that is a fraud, or if there's a team that has an off night, another team will come right in and steal that right from them. So I think that this honestly is going to work out exactly how it should. And 20 years from now, we'll probably have a story of some group of 5 team making a run to like the national championship game, for example. That would be awesome. Or
yeah, it would be awesome.
we're gonna have a story of some team whose quarterback got injured beginning of the season, so they lost a couple games. Then they won out the last 6 or 7 games of the season, won their conference title game out of nowhere, or if they won the conference title game, they made a run and beat some good teams. So they're the 11th seed in the playoff, and then they go out and win the national championship. We're gonna have some stories like that, which I think is great for college sports and great for sports in general. The FCS also does the playoff, which works for them.
Colorado had playoff hopes until this week, and they started the year what? 1-2, 2-2?
They only have 2 losses now, I think.
No, now it's 3, isn't it?
It's 3.
They have 3 losses now. They started the year. They were decent. They were okay at the beginning of the year. Then they got blown out by Nebraska. Absolutely blown out. Everyone wrote them off. I think they dropped another game to Kansas State, I believe. Close one.
Yeah.
And then, but we had 2-loss Colorado, which is one of the most love them or hate them, they're one of the most entertaining teams in all of college sports with Deion Sanders, with Shedeur Sanders, with Travis Hunter. It's good television. It's fun to follow, and we had them as the favorite for the Big 12 up until this past week. We had them as a college football playoff contender till this past week, which I think is amazing for the sport. And I think that it would have been great to see a team like that make it. And when in most years they would have been eliminated basically after that Nebraska loss.
We'll see. Again, I don't think we'll ever see a team 7 through 12 win, so I don't think they belong in the playoff. Like I think it just ruins I think just having like basically every single game mattering so much more in college football I thought was super cool. I think if it was an 8 playoff, I could have been like I would still be on board with it just because, but I think 12 is too much. I think 8 would have been the max, but I would have preferred 6.
We'll see. Boyo of the week. This week's Boyo of the week is
Tim Hightower.
Timmy Hightower, Dante Hightower's long lost cousin. Maybe I'm making that up. But who knows? Connor, tell the folks why you picked Tim Hightower.
So 2015 was my first ever year playing fantasy football. It was a standard league, and it was when there was only 17 weeks in the NFL season, not 18. But my playoffs were 16 and 17. It was 2 weeks long, so it's obviously not how you want to do it because people rest their starters the last week of the season. But that's how my league was because I don't know what I was doing when I first started playing fantasy. And I had Mark Ingram on my team who got hurt, so now I was like, well, I got to pick up somebody off the waiver wire for my fantasy championship. the last 2 weeks, and then I picked up Tim Hightower, the backup, and then the first week, so then week 16 of the season, Tim Hightower had 169 total yards and 2 touchdowns, and the next week followed up with 107 total yards and 1 touchdown. He helped carry me to my first season winning a fantasy championship, my first ever championship, and I'll forever cherish that.
Joey, any thoughts on Tim Hightower? I really have none. I don't remember a ton, so.
I mean, that story sounds a lot like my first time playing fantasy when I won $250 by picking up like Odell Beckham Jr., who was coming off injury his rookie season. But we're not here talking about that. But Tim Hightower, do either of you know where he played college ball at without looking?
Oh, I
I saw it earlier. I know now.
I
just
looked
'cause
at I saw it earlier too, but I don't remember off the top of my head. It was somewhere smaller.
He played for the Spiders of Richmond.
Oh, I did see that.
And I just gotta say historically that's a pretty darn good FCS football team. The FCS football is just really interesting in general, and I just gotta say that Tim Hightower, what I remember him for mostly is the Arizona Cardinals days. And when doing research, I see he was in the was it FXFL or something like that. He played in the FXFL, which is a fall experimental football league, which that's crazy. I just think that his journey was very interesting, and it's cool that there's random players like that in fantasy football, for example, that you develop these connections to because of the fact that you pick them up randomly and they win you game or they win you a championship. And I think Tim Hightower is a perfect example of a player like that.
Yeah. And that is Tim Hightower. I also saw that he got drafted after not being invited to the combine, which feels abnormal.
Yeah.
Especially for a skill position guy. Like that feels pretty abnormal.
Yeah.
Anybody have any final thoughts?
No?
Connor?
Nope.
We got nothing? We got Thanksgiving football and we got nothing?
Go Bears.
Joey, what are you going to do if Michigan beats Ohio State?
I haven't really thought about that because I don't
Shave
think
your
this will
head?
happen this year. No. Absolutely not. I will
I'm just kidding.
I will have to see something. Maybe I'll make a tweet on the Ball Talk Boyos account. Go follow us on Twitter at Ball Talk Boyos, and we'll see what I can do. Or if you have an idea for what I should do if Michigan beats Ohio State this weekend, drop it in the comments. And within reason, I will maybe I'll do one. Maybe I'll do like the top one or something like that. Within reason, of course.
You and
Okay,
Topher should have a bet since it's both your teams
Nope.
playing against each other.
We don't bet.
But
Oh,
no, like a
we
forfeit.
don't
Like the
bet.
loser has to do something.
No. We don't do that. I also don't care about college football. Joey, did we decide that this weekend that
Yeah,
we said something about it?
Tover's no longer a Michigan fan. He's an Arizona State fan because his parents went to Arizona State.
Oh, yeah.
Arizona State, by the way, is the favorite in the Big 12 right now. So they might be in the college football playoff. Forks up.
So
Forks
he'll be
up.
a Michigan fan then a couple of years once they become good again.
Yeah, they got the five-star guy.
Fairweather fan, am I right?
I don't care about college football. I just care that Ashton Genty should win Heisman. We shall see, though. All right. I got nothing. I need the MLB offseason to pick up. I'm getting bored. Thank you very much for watching. Have a happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy all the... Go ahead, Joe.
I almost forgot. Shout out to loyal fan Colt the Bolt, who celebrated his 16th birthday the other day.
Happy
Colt the
birthday.
Bolt.
Happy birthday,
Happy
Colt the
birthday.
Bolt.
Bolt the Bolt.
We appreciate you and all your support of us.
Happy birthday. Happy Thanksgiving to you, Colt the Bolt, as well. Enjoy some football. Have fun in your turkey trots and your Thanksgiving games. Don't tear any ACLs or anything like that or sprain any ankles. So have a safe and happy Thanksgiving. Thank you very much for watching. And go Birds.